Welcome back to Creepy Stories. Stay until the end to find out how you can share your own paranormal experiences and be featured in our next video. Lena had worked in healthcare for over 20 years. She had many spooky stories, but one night in a small hospital stood out. This hospital had only 30 beds and had been around for many years. In the basement was an old morgue and an elevator that went from the basement to the main floor outside the nurse's station. The elevator often came up in the middle of the night, its doors opening as if a patient had just died. One quiet night, Lena and her co-workers were sitting at the nurse's station. Suddenly, they heard a TV blaring at full volume down the short hall to their right. The noise was deafening and came from a section of the hospital that was supposed to be empty. Lena, with her short brown hair and calm demeanor, glanced at her co-worker Ben. Ben, a young man with short blonde hair and a nervous expression, nodded to her. They decided to check it out together. They walked down the hall, the sound of the TV growing louder. They checked all the open rooms, but the noise was coming from a room with a "Do Not Enter" sign on the door, placed by maintenance. As they stood in front of the door, Lena felt a chill run down her spine. She hesitated before cautiously opening the door. Inside, there was nothing except an old TV, its screen glowing brightly, and the volume turned up to the maximum. The room was otherwise empty and eerily silent. Lena walked in, turned off the TV, and said, "Stop that. There is a sick baby next door who needs to sleep, so please be quiet." She walked out and closed the door. The noise didn't start up again, and the hallway fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere seemed to lift. They returned to the nurse's station, both shaken by the experience. They tried to rationalize what had happened, but the unease lingered. Later that night, the elevator doors opened once more. Lena and Ben exchanged worried glances, but chose to stay at their station, too unnerved to investigate further. The next day, they learned that a patient had passed away in the early hours of the morning, just as the elevator had opened. The connection between the elevator and the passing of patients became a grim routine, adding to the hospital's eerie reputation. Weeks went by without incident, but the memory of that night haunted Lena. One night she was alone at the nurse's station when she heard soft whispers coming from the hall. She stood up, her heart pounding, and walked towards the sound. It led her to the same room with the "Do Not Enter" sign. The door was slightly ajar, and the whispers grew louder. She pushed the door open and saw the TV flicker on by itself, static filling the screen. Frozen in place, Lena watched as a faint, shadowy figure appeared on the screen. It seemed to be trying to communicate, but the static drowned out its words. Summoning her courage, Lena spoke to the figure, asking it to leave the hospital in peace. The figure slowly faded away and the TV turned off. Lena closed the door, hoping this would be the last of the strange occurrences. After that night, the elevator stopped its eerie behavior, and the whispers ceased. The hospital returned to its usual, quiet routine. Lena and her co-workers never forgot the unsettling events, and they often shared the story with new staff members as a cautionary tale. Comment down your paranormal experiences, and I will make a story on that in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more creepy stories.